Hey, welcome. I'm not Gianni, but I will say welcome. I'm happy everybody's here for the second episode of Mixed Bag this season. If you're watching live on Twitch, we got to keep the lights on. As Eternal said, this beautiful backlighting you looking at got to stay on. Hit us with all the subs you can. Hit us with a hello in the chat. You can laugh at Jack's headband if you want. And if you're watching this on YouTube, smash the like button, the subscribe button. You can still laugh at Jack's headband if you want, because it's all appreciated. So let me go around to my to my lovely guests. But before I hit them, I always got to hit Brian, the mysterious guy in the back, my producer. Brian, say what's up to the people. And joining me tonight, I got Eternal. Eternal, tell the people where to find you. Introduce yourself. Go ahead.
So I'm Eternal. I go by Eternal Bast on Twitter. I work with 5 Reasons Sports. Just started working with them earlier this year. I got a chance to be a part of the amazing playoff run by the Improbable Heat, and I actually got to cover my first NBA game yesterday. So always enjoyed being a part of this process, and I get to be on here with my homegirl too.
All right. I mean, you gotta do a little something, something. And now let me get to my guy. My guy. My guy, Jack Alfonso, who is the prime antagonist of Heat Twitter, because you are.
That's just not true. There's too
It's not?
many.
It's too many.
There's too many. I don't rank on that list. There's some stiff competition there. Look, I just wanted to rep
Jack,
Tyler
tell the people
Herro
what
with
you've
the
been up to.
headband. That's my guy. I've been up to nothing. It's nobody's business. Leave me alone. You can't find me.
All right, and with
I've been
that being
watching some
said,
Heat basketball.
okay, all right. So then let's just jump right on into it. First topic, we got to talk about it. Tyler, the Creator. We got to talk about it now. This is kind of twofold after what happened last night, but let's talk about how you've seen Tyler's game evolve so far this season, and what do you think they're going to miss in his absence? Eternal, I'm going to come to you first with this.
Oh, you would come to me first on the Tyler question. Um,
You company.
I think I think Tyler, in a lot of ways, has improved his decision making when it comes to putting himself in better scoring opportunities, as well as being better with playmaking for others. One of the brightest things I would say is him playing the passing lane. Somebody made a great comparison. I think it was John Jablanca. Tyler was never going to be like a really, really great on-ball defender, but if he can play in the passing lane, somewhat like a Steph did during his MVP season in the years prior, and now, then that would be a big boost for Tyler. Being great on help defense, and so those are some things that we've seen this year. He's averaging a career high in steals and deflection. So, um, got to give props where it's due, and there are going to be some parts where Miami is going to miss him, and then there are going to be some other very interesting parts. I'll save that for later.
Okay. All right. What do you think, Jack?
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. I think the defense has come a long way. I've never been like the biggest Hero fan, for a lot of the reasons that I think anybody could guess. But he's really impressed me this year. Definitely on the defensive side. I think offensively, the thing I've always been skeptical about with him is his ability to get buckets in different ways. He's never really going to be like the point guard type that maybe this team needs right now. But I think like working hard to kind of get some dribble penetration, I think his handle's a little tighter. Like he's got a little bit more of a bag so he can kind of navigate the court more easily. I think he's moving better off ball. And just overall, I think the game slowed down for him a little bit. Whereas last year, I think we saw a lot of growing pains with him entering the starting lineup. This year, I think he's like significantly more confident. significantly smarter as a decision maker, and it's been nice to see. And then you get, kind of the things he's always provided, which is, good rebounding at the guard position, and then just, elite shot making, whether those shots are good quality or not. They're going to miss that a ton, I think. We know what this roster looks like. They don't have a lot of shot makers. They can replace the defense and whatever, but like they're thin at the guard spot. They don't have that many guys who can just straight up bring the ball up the court. They definitely don't have that many people who can break you down and like hit pull-ups or something like that. Like Duncan's moving a little better with the ball, but it's Duncan Robinson. I don't know. No disrespect. That's just not his bag. Like they've got a lot of good off-ball shooters, and they just don't have a lot of good on-ball talent right now on the offensive end. And just, it's a huge loss to like lose one of your essentially like 3 or 4 guys who you trust to carry like the offense in that regard.
Right. It's interesting because you guys listed like all these great things that he's doing right now. And just like you said, Jack, they're not that deep at the guard spot. So, I mean, you said Duncan Robinson. Like in my mind, that's who's going to slide in for him. But if we're missing all these things with Tyler, if Duncan's the guy, what do you think Duncan's going to be able to do to kind of help fill that hole that's left by Tyler for at least the next maybe 4 weeks?
Yeah, I mean, I I've really liked what I've seen from Duncan. I've always been, I guess, higher on Duncan than a lot of other folks. I think he obviously had a little slump, and the bounce back has been strong. He's added a ton of little facets to his game. Like I think, just with the ball in his hands, he's better. He's like far from good or elite, but like he can do some stuff. He's a lot less mistake prone on both ends, I think, which is nice. Like the big thing keeping him off the floor, other than just Spo being kind of a weirdo, was just fouling. Like on the defensive end, he would get into foul trouble real quick. I think this year we've seen like a pretty drastic reduction in that, just like in terms of him having control of his arms, like he's got some long arms, and he would throw them at people on the defensive end and like get 2 quick fouls. The cutting has been really nice. Like he does create a lot, especially with Bam. Like I always think that's like some of the best chemistry the Heat have had over the past like half decade is that Bam Duncan 2-man game. So look, like he'll be able to fill in, and they'll get some creation out of it, and sometimes it'll look really great, but then I think other times it's going to look super, super sloppy, just because that can't be like the only thing you're going to. It's got to be like mixed in with some other stuff. And I just don't know how many other options they have there.
I think the biggest thing is that Duncan has kind of picked up where he left off of, during the playoffs last season, where he was showing a lot more as far as cutting and kind of taking guys off the dribble, whether them attacking the closeout, and that has been more this season. 69%, as John Jablanca said earlier on Twitter, of Duncan's shots are coming from 3. So that's like way down versus where primarily all of his shots were coming from 3. And, a little bit of what we saw kind of like the last 2 seasons where Duncan would attack the closeout and get to the floater, right? But now he's getting straight to the rim, putting pressure on the rim in his own way, whether that's with timely hard cuts. Like last night, Jimmy had Santi Aldama on him coming from the top of the wing. Santi is playing off. Jimmy went to the spin move. And as Jimmy is spinning, Duncan is coming from 3-point line on the cut. Jimmy's able to dump out to him. So Duncan has been really, really impressive this season as far as, his IQ on the basketball court on both ends. So I'm actually excited to see that was the other part of, with Tyler being out. The rotations have been kind of funky. Obviously, some of that is due to guys being out or whatever, but I do think this is an opportunity, especially so early on in the season, to kind of see what else you have on the roster, what guys can do, what can they provide. in certain situations. And so for Duncan, especially with Kyle playing at a level that's not all star, that's not like above average, he's just been solid. Kyle has been solid, and I have to give him that. Near triple double last night with 17, 11, and 9 on really high efficient shooting. Um, that had some snag in the offense in the fourth quarter, but for the most part, Kyle has been solid, and also he's been playing second most minutes on the team, right behind Tyler Herro. So we'll probably see an uptick in minutes for Duncan and Jaime. And I think with Duncan, especially with that starting unit having Jimmy and Haywood or Hamish, we already know the chemistry that Duncan and Bam have together. So it'd be interesting to see what kind of wrinkle and new threat he can provide on offense for the starting unit.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that. But it's funny you bring up John Jablanca. So John's our guy here at MHB, and so one of the new things that I'm working on here, because John always got numbers, and everybody know 99.9% of the time I don't give a fuck about
Fuck them numbers.
anything that has to do with any of those numbers. But sometimes we got to look a little close at the numbers. So we have a new segment, and it's called John Jablanca Stat Mind. So we're working on it. At some point, it's going to be some cool graphics and all those things. But right now, just throwing out the title.
I really
This is
was expecting the graphics though.
not yet. We working on it. But as of Wednesday, the Heat have scored 192 points in the in the fourth quarters of all their
How many games have they played?
We have played,
Eight?
what are we, 4-4? So 8.
8 games?
Yes.
And
So they
only
have,
192?
yes, in the fourth quarter. In comparison, their opponents have scored 231 points in the fourth quarters. Now, as you put your brains back into your head,
That's crazy.
what do you think has led to this, and how the hell can they fix it?
Oh, well, I'll skip past to Alf in a second, but like I got a chance to talk to Spo about like how bad the offense has been last night, and he quickly, like, if you watch the clip of me asking the question, Spo immediately jumped in and was like, "Well, I felt like we did some good things tonight before we lost." Before we lost the 10-point lead, things got sloppy. I think because I had asked that question, and I know,
Right.
they know about the analytics, they know about the statistics, but I think he
Right.
was really pissed off by them blowing the lead due to like untimely turnovers
Mhm.
and things of that nature. And one of the things that's really been plaguing them out is guys just running into each other. Like the offense just coming to a complete halt, and you have professional basketball players looking like they just stepped on the court with each other, and it's mind-boggling. I remember, which game was that? I think it was it was the Nets, right? You have Jimmy Butler, 56-point Jimmy Butler, 45, 11, and 10 Jimmy Butler in the finals with LeBron. Like, Mr. He should have won clutch player of the year last year, Jimmy Butler, come down against the Nets and just randomly shoots a three, right? Just randomly shoots it. And it was like, but why though, fam? And so there were so many of these plays during these short 8 games where guys were doing things that didn't make sense considering you bring it back most of the core that you had last season. So it's like, why?
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm seeing the same thing you are. I think like there's running into each other. I think last game against the Grizzlies, we saw like just several passes just to nobody, just straight out of bounds. It's a mess. I don't know what the breakdown is. I think, and this is just like speculation, like in the fourth quarter, it does feel like they kind of try to change tune a little bit. Like they try to isolate a tiny bit more so as to like reduce turnovers, which is, I guess, a solid strategy, but they're still turning the ball over. Like it seems like it seems like they'd almost be better off just running their like quarters 1 through 3 offense in the fourth, because it's like you're clearly not protecting the ball well when you're ISOing. Like you're still kind of getting into like you're falling into these traps, you're throwing these reckless passes and stuff. I don't really know what to chalk it up to, but like I do think we saw some good things in the Grizzlies game, and I don't know how repeatable it is, just because I think it relied pretty heavily on some Bam heroics. But I do think like if they're gonna find a sustainable solution to that over the course of like 82 games, like it's got to start with Bam, and it's got to start with Bam doing what he did last night, which was forcing his way to the line. Like he was in a little bit of foul trouble still. Like he ended the night with I think 16 free throw attempts. I don't know how many points he had in the fourth quarter. I think at least like 13 or something. Like he was going off, and I think overall this year we've seen a different Bam in terms of like his willingness to not settle for the jumper. The jumper looks better, which is nice, but like he's also getting more free throw attempts on average. And I think last night, like if he can do even like an ounce of that consistently, just forcing his way to the line, it can kind of stabilize him a little bit. Jimmy's, he's old. It's the regular season. He's on his bullshit right now. Like respect to him.
Man,
That's,
we started that shit, man.
What else do you expect, man? It's November. Like
what's so funny is I won't name their names, but like the people that you are familiar with seeing when it comes to the Heat media, like I got a chance to talk today, right? And it's so funny, like behind the scenes, everybody was talking about like how much of an asshole Jimmy is. And I was just like, damn, we had the same conversation. Like to see Jimmy come out last night and listen, me, Tiff, and Bond talk about this all the time. Bruh came out and was willingly shooting threes, and I was like, why don't you do this all the time, dog? Like it puts pressure on the defense because the defense is already aware how much of a problem you are getting to the rim, and it doesn't matter if you got a 1, 2, or 3 on you. You draw so much attention, and you can also kind of trust Jimmy to make the right play with the ball in his hands. And so what kind of bothered me last night was, all right, cool, we get into the third quarter. Bam is having a great game. It's Jimmy and Bam. And then you saw the offense going towards Kyle or Duncan and things of that nature. And it's like, okay, cool. We got Bam going, but Jimmy is in a corner. Or Jimmy has the ball for like 2 seconds, then he passes it to somebody else. And it's like, okay, when is Jimmy going to get involved in the game here? Because he's finished the game with 15 points. Spoelstra talked about last night, oh, that's the signal of a two-way player. And I'm like, that's kind of half the story, because he did do his job in shutting down Desmond Bane. But it was like when the offense completely went away, that's the time, for Jimmy. So it's kind of been something that's been happening regularly this early season. I'm kind of puzzling why though.
Right. I think, and I feel like I said this to you, Eternal, basically what Jack just said. A lot of it does have to do with Bam. Bam is not going to play big. There aren't that many big guys in the league. He's not going to be facing Jaren Jackson Jr. every night. There's opportunities for Bam to eat every single night, and where he doesn't have to just basically bang and throw his body to get to the rim. There's going to be ways he can just get to the rim that, that have less effect on his body, less effect on the energy that he's burning, because he's not going to be going into these big guys night in and night out. But I think it starts with him. I think we know he can score. It's, can he do it in such a way that it bolsters the team, but while also keeping other people involved? Like, because that's key, being able to go out and get 25 and whatever, or more, but making sure that Duncan does get his shot, making sure that, if Haywood is in or if Jaime is in, like making sure that everybody feels like they're in the game, because that's what you're going to need, especially since Tyler is gone. But taking that and then moving into this next topic, rotations. I need one word, and either one of you can jump on this. I need one word to describe.
Questionable.
I haven't even finished the sentence yet, but that might be right. One word to describe the bench rotation. Just give me one word. Don't elaborate. Just give me one word.
Go ahead. I've already gave mine.
I'll just say November. November.
All right. And with that being said, what would you like to see moving forward from the bench rotation?
Just give me something solid, right? Like last night, Spo did something that I really, really liked. Jaime was having an incredible game defensively, but that's starting to be a normal thing now. But Haywood just jumped off the bench and he was about to come in. This is before Jaime created the steal. Kyle pitched it to in between two players. Jaime gets it. Incredible layup finish, right? Grizzlies call a timeout. Now, I was fully expect. I kind of was like, oh, I wonder if Spo gonna keep him in after they come out of the timeout, and he did. That's very rewarding for a player playing really, really good. The things that have been questionable is how they're, these other games where guys are in a flow, the ball is moving, players are moving, you're getting easy buckets, and then you bring in one person that's thrown all off, and then you bring in other people, and now we're back to this stagnant offense, and it's like, oh, the other team is caught up. Now it's a 1 point game, or they have a 5 point lead. So the rotations have been very questionable.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of the regular thing with Spo where he's like maybe overly experimental at times, and you almost want to see guys get rewarded more for good play. It was kind of funny in the post game last night. Bam, kind of going like, and we got Jaquez in the fourth quarter. Spo sure as hell wouldn't play me as a rookie in the fourth quarter, and it's nice to see that he's getting the run. Like, and I definitely want to see more of it. He had just over 20 minutes last night, and I think like just keep that going. He's obviously going to have some struggles. He'll have some like 1-for-7 nights or whatever, but
Right.
like I just think he's so smart. I do think like he's one of the few guys who can kind of give you some stuff off the dribble, not reliably, but like he's got some talent there. We've seen the footwork. Really loved the little like fake he did to get LeBron flying, and it was really funny to see Herro not do that like 3 plays later.
Right.
But yeah, I'd like to see more of him. A couple people in the chat have brought up Jovic. I'd like to see him. I'm not like begging to see him. I think he's just like a long-term prospect, and he's not gonna give you a ton right away. Who I'd like to see, who's got a couple like DNP coaches' decisions, is Lando. Like I trust Spo to not play guys who aren't ready. And the Thomas Bryant experiment has gone about as expected. But I would like to see what he can give, because Thomas Bryant was never going to be your playoff big. Obviously, you would have hoped that the offense was a little better from him, and I'm sure we'll get some stretches where he looks really good offensively. But like this is who he is, and this is who he's always been as an NBA player, for better or for worse. Like this isn't going to be something where like halfway through the season he stops being this defensively. So this isn't going to be something you can carry into the playoffs. So that being said, would like to see maybe a Lando a little bit more. I want to see Highsmith as much as possible. Like that's the dude. I think last night on Heat Beat, G and Bon and Alf were talking through some stuff about like who are the Heat players they trust. Highsmith is firmly on that list for me, offensively and defensively. And they also talked a lot about when Caleb comes back, where they want to see him. For me, firmly at the 2. Like I think they have so much talent at the power forward spot right now. And they can give you multiple looks at power forward, whether it's Highsmith, whether it's Love coming back, whether it's Jovic or Jaime. Like they've got talent there. They don't need to be playing Caleb at the 4.
No, he
I
should
think Bond said
never.
it perfectly. He's a 2.5, like big
Yeah.
2, little 3. And I think that'll add like a huge dynamic to their offense and defense, especially if they can get him back while Herro's out. But yeah, I don't know. I just think Spo's kind of a weirdo with rotations, and he's always seeing things we don't, for better or worse. And
I literally,
it kind of seems like for worse.
I literally said last night while I was at the game, I was like, I'm surprised Spo brought in I forgot who he brought Drew in for Jimmy instead of Jaime. And I was like, why would he do that? And like somebody on Twitter said, he said, why would he responded or whatever. Literally fourth quarter, he takes Drew out. Jaime is still in the game and brings Jimmy in. And I was like, okay, so you do it then. So why the hell you didn't do it earlier in the game? So like, because it was like you obviously see Jaime is very adaptable, whether defensively or offensively. He moves so well without the ball, and he does like the little things that, like, if you're watching, he caught a ball at the 3-point line and just a little head fake. Just 3 of them created so much space for another shooter, and I was like, you can't really teach that. That's just such good feel for the game. So I agree. I feel like Caleb is a big 2, small 3, but I feel like the team has a bunch of 3s.
Yeah.
So
they need it too. Like I think he can be that too, though. Like that backup wing to get. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, Spo's making some Windhorse decisions where you just go like, why would Eric Spoelstra do that?
Listen, I don't know, but I agree. If Caleb's healthy, and we would hope at some point, he should not be at the 4. Like that is off with those knees at this point. That's off limits. Like there is no reason he should touch that position ever again. And with that being said, finish this sentence. Jaime and Haywood have been
tremendous, but you're gonna call that man Jaime.
Jaime Jaquez. That's his name. I would say bar raisers. Like they're just giving you something that you needed on this team that you didn't necessarily have coming into the season. Like I think people had high hopes for both, but like this is the absolute high point of what you could expect from either of them.
Right. And just for the way he playing, I'm about to call this man Jamal. So
let me ask y'all a question. Have y'all seen a rookie guard / forward with this high level of footwork?
Ooh.
Recently? No.
In the last 10 years, I give you that. In the last 10.
Not in this specific way.
Right.
I think there have been like guards and wings who have entered the league and they've had like some little moves and like skills that you could say are kind of far beyond their years. I think Jovic has such a Jaime has such a specific skill set. And I think, it's why he was like a superstar in college. Like that's the thing with him, right? Like, is that as good as he is in the NBA, like he was carrying UCLA in college. And like, I think what it just, and this is not like a new observation, but it's just like, it's Jimmy-esque, like his footwork, I think. Like just the way he wants to get his buckets, he could not possibly have a better mentor than Jimmy right now, just because there's the physical limitations, which they both have. And there's just like the clear product of like insane work ethic, which is
Right.
that footwork, and like an insane awareness for your own limitations and how you can get by those limitations. I think the LeBron thing that I mentioned earlier, like him doing the little fake in transition, is kind of perfectly like rookies don't usually have that level of self-awareness, especially not rookies who are coming from a position where they were stars in their previous role and now they're like eighth, ninth men. Like it usually takes more of an adjustment to this level of awareness of like how big the gap is between you and a LeBron, because there's no LeBrons in college.
Right.
So yeah, I've never seen, I can't think of anything specifically like it. So yeah, I don't know. Can you, Tiff?
No, and that's why I said recently no, because there's and we talk about Jimmy, but there's a level of patience with his footwork that rookies usually don't have, because rookies usually have that battery that says go go go, because they want to show they need to do all the things to prove while they're there, especially if they're high picks. And if they're not high picks, now I got to prove why I deserve playing time. So it's that constant speed that they play with. He, on the other hand, he's able to shift gears mid play, which is the mark of a veteran. But because he played 4 years in college, he has the old man game. He has the back to the basket, back him down, up and under. He has the I'm a pump fake you until you jump out your shoes, then I'm just gonna go and lay it in. Like he's got 4 years. How many players stay in school that long to actually kind of like his game is like a diamond. Like there's 100 different cuts in it. It might have 5 flaws, and you got to look real close to see it.
You better come on with the analogies, Tiff.
Yeah, that's poetry right
I
there.
see.
Also,
I
let me let
see.
you know something. You might not be familiar with my game, but I call people all kinds of names. I get your name wrong, I get your name right. That's what it do. So Jamal is putting in work on the Heat.
Oh man.
It's too many things to remember while I'm talking. So sometimes, listen, and as a person who has 400 kids in their building, who has to know their names when they show up to them, listen, I can call those kids all kinds of names. Stacy, and Lord knows that girl name was not Stacy, but I did it. It happens. We gonna forget it and move on. Go ahead, Eternal. I know you want to say something. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna talk about your guy Heyman.
No, go ahead.
Um,
Go ahead.
um, I just think he has been so solid, doing the little things. And if you ask to finish the sentence, and that's why I use tremendous with him and Jaime, they just do a lot of the little things that don't show up. They don't always show up on, um, the scoreboard or whatever. And it's
Mhm.
like those little things, like I said, with Jaime with the ball fake or Hamish, there was the behind the back block that he got on Kenny Lofton Jr., right?
Mhm.
Cal slipped on a play. But he disrupted it enough that Hamish was able to turn around, to get a block, and then you had the block at the rim. So it's just those little things that he does. He does a lot of them, whether keeping plays alive, always hustling, getting back in transition. If you put on a tape of hustle, you could put on a tape of Hamish
Yep.
and be very thoroughly impressed. And so I think with the both of them, you get so much good, valuable production out of them that keep the chains moving,
Mhm.
and kind of keep you in the game and don't put you in a hole.
Okay. All right. I listen. I agree with all of that. Um, First, I want to say thank you to you, both of you guys, for coming on. We're not finished yet, but I want to get this out of the way. So I want to say thank you to you guys. I want to say I'm happy that you came. These guys are on Twitter. They're everywhere. Throw out your ads right now just so people can follow you. They know where you are.
Mine is Eternal Bast, BAST on Twitter, Instagram, all of those things. Just jump on the ride if you want to.
I'm at GNavas103 on Twitter. Just follow me there. That's
I
where
knew
you
you
can
were gonna
find
do
me.
that. I knew you were gonna do that. Oh man. Um
I've told people to mind their goddamn business. I respect it. I respect
and now I wanna we have not. I'm lying to the American people on Patti LaBelle's internet. I literally just came up with this like 2 hours ago. So we're gonna try a new segment here on Mixed Bag,
Okay.
and it's Tiff's movie reviews.
Oh my God.
Ooh.
Oh God. Ah!
Oh my gosh.
And tonight we are reviewing the Marvels. So I wanted you guys to go on this ride with me.
Okay, cool.
Feel
Go ahead.
free to ask questions, comments, and concerns.
I'm ready.
Now, I myself like to compare the Marvels to the Heat, right? So this is what we're gonna do. Jimmy is Captain Marvel.
Okay.
Bam is Monica Rambeau.
Oh, okay. I see what you're doing here.
Is Marvel.
I see
All
what you're
right.
doing.
You see what I'm doing? All right. All right.
I see what you're doing.
Now, listen. The Marvels, as the Heat, constantly disrespected, right? When
Okay.
all they want to do is entertain you and give you good vibes. That's
Okay.
all. That's all they want to do.
Okay.
But just like the Heat,
Oh Lord.
the Marvels, they start off strong too. It starts off strong. Act one, the Marvels. Act one, the Heat. They coming out giving you good vibes and a good time,
Oh Lord.
right?
I see where this is
Act
going.
two,
Yeah, I don't like where this is headed.
they trying to force the audience to stay involved. Act three, you are holding on for dear life.
Oh man. Oh man.
Now,
Are they
you
running
might
into each other?
you yes, they are. You might have won the game, but there were some casualties along the way.
Oh man.
Now, I will say I had a lot of laughs. I enjoyed myself. It was a good time.
Which game are you talking about?
I'm combining all of it into one. All of it into one. All of it into one. That goes for the Heat. That goes for the Marvels. Sometimes you just got to show up, put it in God's hands.
Oh my God.
Whatever's going to happen, happens. But enjoy the ride.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do.
Yeah.
But I will say, I felt like Captain Marvel was taking a play out of Jimmy's playbook this year.
Mailed it in.
She showed up a little bit. She had a couple of steals in the passing lane. She let Monica carry the load. She gave you a little bit more. And then she was like, all right,
I'm done.
now it's time. Let me get a bucket. I'll get a bucket here. See, all these things are together.
Yeah.
People hate on the Heat, they hate on the Marvels. It was perfect synergy. It was the perfect time for all of this to meet. Can I get that poster one more time? Because I need this ingrained in y'all brains. You two,
I don't want it to
anybody
be.
watching, I need y'all to look at this
This is
and
wild.
understand something. The end of the day, it's gonna be Monica Rambeau that saves you. And just like that, thank you for tuning in. If you still here and you enjoy tips, movie reviews, mixed bag, thank you. MHB, we out.
I make beats in bed and I don't need nobody else. I make beats in bed and I don't need nobody's help. I don't need your fancy studio, I'll do this shit myself. Make beats in bed and